awareness. But one of the things that we can do as mum and dad is to model appropriate technology usage. How we use technology influences how our children use technology. If we are always on our phone for work, which is the excuse that we give ourselves. I run a digital marketing agency. I have to be online all the time, but it's an excuse. I also have to find a way to do what I need to do without being on my phone in front of my children all the time. Because if I do that, when they get their first devices and we're telling them to put it down and have some balance, we're being hypocritical. And they'll call us out on it. I'm sure many of you have already been called out on it or are approaching that point. And it's not do as I say, not as I do. We have to walk the walk in this day and age. So we have to figure out how we are utilizing it and bring balance to how we are utilizing our digital devices. Because what that also means is that we have to acknowledge that in some cases, some of us have a problem with it. We are as addicted as our children are to it. We cannot put it down. And again, we give ourselves all manner of excuses that it's work, it's email, I have to do that, I have to do this, they're excuses. We have to find a way for us to build that into our daily life without showing our children one thing and then expecting them to do something else. We also have to look at ways of cultivating and maintaining open lines of communication. What this actually translates into is us as mum and dad listening. And it's really difficult. Because as parents, what we tend to do when our child is telling us something, especially if it's something that's upset them or hurt them, is we want to jump in and fix it and figure out how we can make it better. And sometimes that's not actually what they want. What they want is they want us to listen to them. And then, without judgment or punishment, discuss what's going on. Again, it depends on the age of your child, but what evidence and what the work we do with a lot of clinical psychologists is showing is that what our children want from us is for us to hold space for them. Give them a safe space to talk to us about anything and everything. The way that this works, and as an example, is that 1 hour for dinner, if we can, or if we can build it into something that's not dinner, is 1 hour of time whereby sat down around a table where there are no screens, including TV, and anything is on topic. Nothing is off topic. They can talk about subjects which we wouldn't usually want to talk about at the table. They can use profanity. They can use anything that they need to be able to talk about what it is that they want to talk about. And if we hold that space for them, the first few times we do this, and a friend of mine who created some parental control software in Canada did this, he implemented this. The first few dinners, because he did an hour for dinner, he said they were really quiet and not much happened. And then children got bored of it being quiet, so they started talking about stuff. And then they started talking about small things, little things at school and what's going on. And it evolved into this safe space where the small things have got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then issues that they were dealing with or their friends were dealing with at school became topics of conversation. And because those communication channels were open, something could be done about it. I.e., we could, as mum and dad, say, what do you want to do about that? Do we need to fix it? And they'd say, no, I just needed you to listen. I'll come back to you when I figured out what I would like to do about this. And as mum and dad, we have to respect that and allow them to do that, because we also can't just jump in and fix it every time, because then we're not empowering them to become resilient and overcome some of these issues themselves. What else can we do? Well, we can leverage the technology. We can use parental control softwares and blocking software that's out there as part of our comprehensive approach to online safety. But it's very important for me to make this point. It is only a part of the solution. The reason I say that is because a few years ago, a lot of parents were coming to me, what's the best parental control software I can utilize? We would talk about it. They would go off and buy it and implement it. And then they would think, halas, finished, we're safe. That's not the case. And so we need to understand it's part of the solution. It's an essential part of the solution. And there are a number of different things out there that we can utilize. There are family accounts, which are the base level. So if you have got children and they're on devices, whether you're Android or whether you're Apple iOS, set up a family account and put their devices under your family account. This means that in order for them to do anything around downloading apps or buying things inside of apps, has to come through you for approval. And it prevents these scenarios, which I'm sure you've heard about, where one day you wake up and suddenly 3,500 dirhams has been spent on your credit card in a game. And you're thinking, how on earth has that happened? It's usually because a child has got access to the app store through their device and has just been clicking, yeah, I'll buy. That can't happen if family accounts are set up. They also can't download apps. So if you've decided in your house that no, Snapchat is not allowed on have got their device set under your family account, they can't download it without you giving them permission to things happening at the very base level. We can also look at something called Gryphon router or router, and this is often referred to as the pinnacle of the best out there when it comes to the kind of solution. So within the Gryphon router, it provides the Wi-Fi to your whole to your whole house, but it also has parental control software built in there so that you can control the Wi-Fi at home, but you can also then control their mobile devices as well. And again, this is widely renowned as the best solution out there. The thing is, you have to buy the physical router. You can buy it on Amazon and have it delivered to the UAE. So if you're in the process of redoing your house or thinking about this, then this is an option for you. If you don't want to have to buy a completely new router, then you can look at something like Circle Plus, which you plug into your existing router and then allows you some of the same functionality as the Gryphon does in terms of setting up access to the internet, when the children can have access, how long they're going to have access for, what they have access to, that there's going to be specific bedtimes when it's not accessible anymore. And you can set up your entire day routine utilizing this so that, again, they can have access when they're allowed access to the things that you want them to have access to. So Circle Plus is also a very, very useful piece of kit. Then another one, this is actually the software that my friend Justin set up. He's the one that implemented the 1 hour for dinner story that I told you earlier. And this is an internet browser, and things like Chrome and Firefox and Edge that come out of the box, they're not set up as safe browsers, but this is. And so this becomes where they go looking for certain things, and it's already set up to prevent them access to certain sites, certain types of sites. And it's also a fluid solution, because as you come across things that you don't want them to have access to, you can add it into the list. So again, they're only able to access certain things when it comes to their browsing, and let alone the social media apps. Just going on to things like Google and searching for certain things, you can really start to lock that down and help prevent them getting access to things that you don't want them to have access to. This one I include just for reference. I highly recommend that every parent goes out and has a look at Bark. Bark is the pinnacle of parental control software. It's the best that you can get, but, and it's a big but, it's not available in the UAE. So why include it? Well, the reason I include it is because when it comes to the solution that you're looking for, this is what we would ideally have. Now, they're expanding globally, but it's going to take them a while to get to the Middle East, because unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things, we're quite a small population. And so what it does is it monitors across the board. You can see on the right-hand side here, 5.9 million children covered, 550,000 severe self-harm situations detected, and 2.6 million severe bullying situations detected. Bark is installed on devices, and it is watching out for you. It's monitoring social media, it's monitoring text messages, it's monitoring unknown numbers when it comes to calls. And again, it's not from a big brother perspective, but there are obviously trigger words that you set up so that if, for example, your son or daughter was on Google and searched depression, you might want to know about that. Are they just intrigued? Are they feeling certain ways? This is something as a parent I would want to know so that I could then make the necessary arrangements to talk to my child about that in terms of what is it? Is there something wrong? Because again, unfortunately, there's too many scenarios where these things go unnoticed. So Bark is for reference for you as mums and dads to have a look at and just see what's available. And then we can look at the alternatives that are out there for us here in the UAE. Why is this so important? Well, why Bark is the pinnacle is because previously they used to have on there, how many suicides